What is the biggest desire of every marketer online? What is it that companies demand and want more than anything else? Hey, I'm Justin Hitt with Ad Briefing's copywriting tips. I want to share with you a misconception that causes you to waste marketing dollars and ultimately chase something that doesn't benefit you. I know that's a harsh claim, but so many businesses desire new traffic. They want traffic to their website. They want people to visit because in the back of their mind, they have the misconception that traffic equals customers. So I operate a conversion first marketing agency where we focus on conversion optimization as a primary factor of activity. Now, yes, we'll create content, we'll help you with videos and editorial ideas and keyword research and all the things that are around the ecosystem, but the focus is on conversion, and I'd like to share with you why this is so critically important. First off, search optimization focuses you on a convenient and sometimes seemingly beneficial way to create more money for Google, Bing, and other search platforms. Now, I know you weren't expecting that because you're expecting that, yes, you can optimize for keywords and use fancy tools to find the traffic-laden keywords and get visitors to your website. But nothing about that is aligned with the purpose of your business, which is to create and keep profitable customers. So a search term and volume and competitiveness of that search term has very little to do with the quality or the quantity of specific customers for your business. So yes, you can chase content and search engine optimize and do things and see a result, that result being more visitors to your website. But again, traffic doesn't equal sales. And so what is the key? Well, first off, content is very expensive and it's easy to produce, so it feels like you're doing something. There's the implied promise of more content equals more customers, but if content is not your primary business, so you're not a newsletter, you're not a magazine, you're not a media source, then that additional content only drives a metric that is vanity based. Now, as a marketing agency, it is very easy to get people on vanity metrics, impressions, exposure, brand identity. Those vanity metrics tickle a innate human desire to be recognized, to be seen, to be part of something. None of that has anything to do with creating and keeping profitable customers, which generates the bottom line profits and cash flow in your business, which is necessary to stay in business. Again, my claim is that search engines, social media, and other platforms who sell advertising are having conditioned you and other people in the marketplace to create more content, to target more keywords, to be involved in engagement, not because it benefits your company. Now, it may benefit your company sometimes, and mostly by accident, but it definitely benefits an organization selling advertising. Now, again, the majority of my clients are not publications. I do have a couple publications that are clients, but they don't sell advertising, they sell subscriptions. So the subscription itself is a conversion event. If you have advertising and someone clicks on the ad and goes off to another platform, the only way you can continue to make money from them is if you own the advertising network. And again, that's why social media, who owns a platform of media, that's why video marketing platforms like YouTube, Rumble, and other things want you to create more content. That's why search engines want you to create more content because, they own the advertising network. Now, if you understand that they are asking you to create content because it drives their conversions, doesn't that give you an idea that maybe the conversions on your own website have an elevated value? Rich Sheffron, who's a marketing consultant and has massive success in this area, says, what good is more traffic if they don't become customers? So the key to success with a business website or any website that has a product or service to offer that's not an advertising network or is not generally making revenue from advertising, and that could mean subscriptions, product sales, service engagements. It could mean other like fundraising, if you're a political candidate, for example. That conversion activity is where we should start with our optimization. So a conversion first approach starts with the outcome that you desire, whether it's subconsciously or consciously. Now, again, there are a lot of vanity metrics where we have the subconscious desire to be recognized, to be seen as an expert. We have the subconscious desire to be an influencer, for example. And you'll notice this language here is what's being used as they get you to write more content for their purposes. Let's change that approach, because more content doesn't mean more conversion. The promise of sales is a disconnection from action. Let's explore this. So first off, you've got a website. Why do you have a website? Well, if it's not to create and keep profitable customers, then you just have a website for your own personal endowment. Then I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to organizations, businesses that have websites because they want to create and keep profitable customers. They want customers who pay, stay, and refer. They want customers who they can serve at a reasonable price point. And this is developing that profile, that customer avatar, that buyer persona. They want individuals that they're compatible with. So one of the things that I found running a newsletter site is that I was attracting a lot of people who asked questions, who engaged with my videos, who engaged with my content, who engaged with my podcast. They liked, subscribed, and all the things that you see people asking for, but they didn't buy anything. They were college students. They were people just interested. They were in the topics. They were people who are new to the field. It was a lot of competitors who subscribed to my list to see what I was doing so that they can knock off what I was doing. I did have a consistent growth in subscribers. I had a consistent growth in page views. I had a lot of content, but nothing to show for it. And that's when I started understanding that the business really is about, and this is back in the 90s, business really was about serving customers, solving problems, and that my measurement of success was the positive net cash flow I was able to produce delivering specific products or services. Now, my own ego liked the fact that I knew a lot about the topic and service, and if I could position myself as an expert, maybe that would attract more customers to my business. And so we had the whole thought management and the making yourself a recognized expert. And then I started thinking, well, who am I doing this for? Who are my very best customers? And I do this with my clients. I sit down with them and we go through accounting materials, not your content first. We start with your accounting. Who are the best customers to serve? Who are the very best repeat customers who refer, pay, stay, and refer, and then what kinds of products and services we can deliver. Now, immediately, most clients will start going to, well, we got to tell them about the products. We got to write content to talk about the product. No, because the bigger question is, what problems do we solve? Now, when we know who the very best customer is, and the problems we can solve, we can do a Venn diagram and identify the specific area of content that has the greatest long-term value to the organization. See, there are times I'll record a podcast that's just willy-nilly. So I have these editorial calendars and I go through and I do the research for the keywords and I do the customer segmentation. I do the customer surveys. I do a lot of things. Now, unfortunately, a lot of the SEO tools focus on who's out there. But a conversion first approach focuses who's already done business with my organization and who was profitable to do business with, and what are the tangential opportunities for that particular audience. And then when I focus on those areas, every new visitor, even though there's not a lot of them, has the highest probability of being a customer. Now, I've developed a customer persona. And when you have a customer persona, you can actually go out and start now looking at the mailing lists. You can start looking at the advertising channels. You can start doing audience segmentation, audience matching, and actually go benefit from the content networks. And notice I said content network. See, what Google's building is a content network on the back of your hard-earned dollars. What social media is producing is a platform of users on the back of your time and attention. We know these networks already exist. So rather than going and posting content in these networks, we can just go buy the advertising on that network to drive people to our landing pages, which convert, generating a lead, to our sales offers, which convert to generate a sale. Now, if we had a website that was only pitches and only lead generation materials, it could deter some visitors. So there's a right way of doing that and there's a wrong way of doing that. But neither way is content marketing. Content marketing is like saying fax marketing or saying email marketing or saying there's like a whole range of media. The content is a media. What is marketable is your house list of prospects who have been sifted and sorted to match desires and buying interests with actual products and services. So you might say, well, Justin, I can't have a website that's just got pitches. It's just got offers. But I say, well, what is Amazon? What are some of the most successful catalog websites on the internet today? And so when you think about it, there are platforms today that generate a high level of revenue, attract and keep customers, that produce sales and leads. Those leads become your house media, so you can invite people back, so you can learn more about them, and that creates what's a hidden content world that can't be knocked off, that goes direct to the buyers, and ultimately cultivates the business relationship so that you get more customers who pay, stay, and refer. Now, you say, well, Justin, I can't afford to do advertising. Well, it's not that you can't afford to do advertising. It's the fear that you're not going to do it the right way and that you don't have conversion in place. And that actually is a subconscious acknowledgement that the content delivery, the content marketing, the syndication and distribution that a lot of folks pitch out there, because again, they're selling advertising across the network of sites that they do not own. See, essentially, if you're doing content marketing the way Google wants you to do it, or the way Facebook wants you to do it, or the way LinkedIn wants you to do it, you're working for free to build their media, to build their customer base, to sell services and subscriptions that they can sell at volume. And maybe the difference between your professional service being able to afford marketing and not is on the accounting side of the dollar value of your products or services, the efficiency of your business operations, and the overall ability to serve your customers. Now, that takes away from search engines. You won't be the most popular person because, again, we're now looking at the finance of the business. We're looking at what I call business development. So we're developing a business that when we put it in front of a customer, the customer's mind immediately goes to why you're the most eligible, the most valuable, the most likely person for them to engage with their dollars. See, engagement alone has little or no value, but engagement with dollars, that conversion transaction that helps build that relationship, that's the most important thing. Because when you have a catalog site, when you have lead generation funnels, when you have back-end marketing automation and follow-up, you can take someone who shows an interest in what it is that you offer, more importantly, shows an interest or identifies themselves as having a problem you can solve, and then now you can cultivate them in private media you own, events, webinars, teleseminars, special reports, email follow-up series, prospect newsletter, a whole world that you own and can profit from. So what's powerful is that we're going to put energy not into creating someone else's business or building someone else's network and revenue sources. We're going to take that energy and we're going to put it into the growth of your organization. We're going to distribute on purpose within the context of your business. And this could mean joint venture partnerships, cooperative marketing. It could mean focusing on a specific platform known to have your buyers. We're putting more of our marketing dollars in front of qualified prospects who can buy, who want to buy, and who ultimately can benefit from the problems that you solve. So there's some action steps we got to take. First off, we've got to focus on conversion. How many leads are you producing? Now, how many sales are you producing? Now, leads is a precursor to sales. We want to build lists of who is interested in taking action, and then we can analyze these lists to see who is qualified to purchase products or services. We can use these lists to cultivate or to develop new products. We can use these lists to identify additional buyers in the marketplace. Now, you might be saying, I don't have any traffic to my website, and that's why I'm trying to get traffic. You don't need traffic to your website if you have beneficial offers. And what do I mean by offers? So the offer that generates a lead is a promise for more information. It could be an appointment to answer questions. It could be a recording of a presentation you did years ago. It's almost an information first approach to starting that relationship by answering some of the common questions they have. Now, many of my podcasts, while they're distributed on a public network, are often used in marketing campaigns to answer specific questions for people who raise their hand and say that they're interested in building their business, generating more profits, attracting and keeping profitable customers, and ultimately having a better, more saleable business. That's business development. If I only wanted to educate people, I would run a different kind of business. And this is what I advocate for my clients. If you sell a widget, the primary thing you should do with your website, with your print media, with the salespeople in your office, all the different ways of doing business, is to sell widgets. Now, you don't have to hard sell them. You could put somebody on a list to answer their common questions about widgets, to show them demonstrations of how to implement the widget, get them ideas and tips to get more from your widget, or to ultimately showcase the customers you have that already have success with your widgets. I worked with one client who was initially thinking they're in the advertising business, and they did have a content website, and they had volumes and volumes of content over the years, and this content was already existing, and they came to me saying, look, I got content, but I don't have any customers. I said, okay, what does a customer look like? And what we were able to do is turn their volume of traffic. We didn't grow the traffic. We made it more consistent, but we changed the composition of the visitors to their website to be more interested in the products and services they offered. Now, they had a celebrity-oriented website, so they got a lot of general traffic. In order to make money, we found that the customer wasn't the visitor to the website. It was the celebrities themselves. It was the product people who sponsored these celebrities, and then it was ultimately and now, by the way, this was in 2000 something, before we were monetizing attention, but it was the publisher's ability to reach certain buyers in the marketplace. So even if you don't have your own widget now or your own product or service now, you could be of benefit to individuals who have that taken care of and have conversion value in what it is that they offer. So they have offers, they have lead campaigns, they have other ways of putting customers on a list. Now, here's the thing. Once you have your conversion ready, there are far more people out there that have traffic, who have mailing lists, who have email lists than customers. And so you can become their customer, and they can use existing content. So why write more content? We don't need more content on the internet. Hundreds of thousands of hours of video is uploaded to YouTube every minute. You don't need more content. What you need is more customers. So if we're focusing on conversion, it may not feel like we're getting traction because you don't have the traffic on your site to test. For example, if you're doing an A/B split between a landing page, you need a certain amount of traffic to make that work. However, once we have an idea of what converts, we can concentrate our marketing budget on flooding that page with quality, targeted traffic that we simply just purchase from somebody else, or that we joint venture with people who already own the traffic, or we go back to our house list. Can you see how many more options this is? Rather than sucking at the teat of Google or chasing their latest algorithm, rather than posting content that makes LinkedIn more money, rather than chasing people on the latest social media post hoping something goes viral, or you're jumping from Facebook to TikTok to Instagram, we can start focusing on where are our customers at and what offers can we put in front of them to generate leads and to generate sales. Now, what this does is, number two, it builds your own media. Like I said before, if you have a list of prospects who you've used surveys or you've used engagement into interaction to determine what they're interested in, now you can take a segment of your mailing list and make a specific offer to them. So whatever your widget is, whoever is the ideal buyer, they're not always going to want to buy. So they're going to buy periodically. They're going to have certain events in their life. They're going to have certain specific problems. And if they raise their hand to get on your mailing list, you can then go back to that mailing list without your competitor knowing what you've done, without the public seeing it, without chasing the latest algorithm, without wasting a lot of money, because the dollars you spend, and whether you're writing content for free or you're paying somebody to write content or you're buying advertising, you're spending time, money, resources, but we're now investing it on highly qualified prospects. And if your leads are not converting, then you know something. If people just land on your website and disappear, you don't know if they're a bot, you don't know if they're a student, you don't know if they're in some foreign country, you don't know if they're outside of your service area, you don't know if it's a competitor. But again, a lead on your list starts building your own media so that now you can go back to them with a podcast, a video, other content materials. So when I record a podcast like this one, I'm only speaking to professional services companies, technical services providers, and individuals who want to sell a product or service that's a high-ticket product or service. I'm not talking to every Tom, Dick, and Harry who just set up their website, because anybody can create a website. And now with AI, pretty much anybody can write content. I want people who can convert, who want to convert and gain clients who pay, stay, and refer. So within my own media, I provide additional content, coaching calls, membership site, all these other things that may or may not be relevant to your business. An industrial company may not have something they call a membership site, but they could have a service program that allows access to a content library so that companies can reduce their costs. I know Sun Microsystems, for example, had a subscription-based access to a knowledge base that essentially allowed us access to technical documents so that we could fix equipment, and we paid a fee for that. We paid for training classes. We paid for other things. So you may not think that your widget sale has these information-related elements, and you may be distracted by the desire to be popular, and therefore you're creating content in the wrong place. You're creating content that doesn't serve specific purposes, such as creating and keeping profitable customers. You're creating content that doesn't build your own media. When you have your own media, not only will you have your prospects on a list, but you also have your customers on a list. And now we can start doing data analytics. Now, I know a lot of my clients don't want to do data analytics, but that's what we do for the organization as we're developing customer bases, we're launching products, and we're connecting you with buyers. When we do this, we can start seeing patterns. Very often, you're going to, like using a Pareto principle, for example, the 80-20 rule, you're going to find that out of 100 customers, only 20 of those customers are extremely high value. So now we're going to refocus the marketing on those 20 customers within that particular segment, and then we're going to look for the steady people in the middle, and we're going to go out and optimize the ad spending, optimize the content creation, optimize the targeting in the marketplace, and then we're going to have a conversion event so that we know whether or not what we've done has any value. Folks, engagement, brand identity, the number of impressions on your website has zero value at all. God bless you if you've got a lot of visitors, but it doesn't mean that you have a lot of customers. What we focus on here, again, with a conversion-first approach is, are we generating leads? Are we generating sales? Because if we have leads, we can follow up with them using salespeople, postcards, email, retargeting. There's a lot of ways to follow up with those folks. If we have sales, we actually have revenue to invest in those ways to follow up, but also to pay the people in the office and to generate and develop new products and to serve our customers. The purpose of a business, again, is to serve our customers. Number 3. We will now want to optimize from the customer's perspective, because the only measure we have on whether or not we're delivering value to those customers is profit per sale and customer lifetime value. If we are not growing customer lifetime value, then we are not delivering value to our customers. Now, you could have a large volume of customers and a very low customer lifetime value, but we now have overhead constraints, and this is the business development side. I go into finance, I go into business processes, I go into risk management. Because again, if you have 100,000 customers with very low customer lifetime value, you have risks in the marketplace. You also have a high overhead contribution because of the large number of customers you have. And we can often develop a premium product for the smaller list of customers where we can spend a little bit more time with customers, but we haven't increased our overhead. And then we can increase that customer lifetime value. So even within a list of 100,000 customers, there could be a segment of 10,000 that today you could triple or double your business. Again, these promises are made based on actual results, but they're not typical for every business. So the publisher I worked with that had a lot of content, we transformed their business into going from being a publishing company only with ad revenue to increasing the number of income streams that they had available as more of a marketing agency or a toll booth position to a specific set of vendors who wanted to reach a specific set of customers. Now, later on, we did offer more products and services to the customers who were visiting at the website, but they had the typical problem of too much traffic and too few sales. Now, you could have very little traffic, but a high conversion. We would approach differently. But still, it's conversion first approach. We want to focus on the conversion itself, which could be leads and sales, not engagement. We don't care how long they've been on a page. If someone lands on a page, reads the headline, immediately scrolls down and buys the product, that's good. That's fine. We don't need them to be on the page for 3 minutes in order to know that we've done something. We've got the sale. The sale tells us we've done something. Now we're measuring customer retention, we're repeat sales, customer lifetime value, cost per lead, cost per sale, all these things that actually matter. You can't go to the bank and deposit impressions or brand recognition. None of that has tangible value in the majority of marketplaces. We're building our own media because that media allows us to go back to those customers at a lowest possible cost. Yes, it is expensive to use other people's networks because Google has trained everyone to create content so that you can get the top search listing, so that you can get top ranking, ignoring the fact that that's increasing the value of Google's network. Yes, it's expensive to do pay-per-click. The keywords that convert are going to be expensive because they convert. So why not build your own media so you can go back to prospects and customers, start building that relationship, and then make specific offers. Now, there is some balance between having a catalog website with a bunch of offers out there in the open or having a collection website with a bunch of offers on your own media. That has something we have to discuss, but ultimately we're optimizing for the customer themselves. Because if you had a lot of customers, you wouldn't fall for these scams and tricks and content marketing and the email marketing and the latest social media platform and the next new search engine or the next AI. All the shiny objects are disappearing because your focus is on the service to your customers. That's when we start developing new products and services. That's when we start refining your widgets into good, better, and best categories so you can get premium pricing. That's when we start looking at your customer lifetime value and how do we optimize that. It's not about taking from your customer and getting the most money from them. It's about the value that keeps them coming back for more, because this conversion first approach is about customer loyalty, customer retention, customer value growth, benefits to the customer, serving the customer. Those are the things that are often not seen because someone else profits from your content. Someone else profits from you chasing leads and sales on the other people's platforms. Again, there are attraction methods that work. You may be seeing results with search. You may be seeing results with certain platforms. But what if you're shadow banned? What if you are completely, the algorithm changes? What if you're no longer popular with a broad audience? What if you're not, the customer that you have doesn't go to that platform anymore because they were distracted and they went someplace else? If you want to create and keep profitable customers, the only approach for marketing, okay, we don't care what media the marketing is on. Skywriting might be a thing later, and so you don't want to do skywriting marketing. You just want to do marketing. And what is marketing? Generation of leads. What is sales? Generation of sales. So again, focusing on the conversion. Increasing conversion rates doesn't necessarily increase your profits. So we want the larger business development approach. But because you've created your own media, you can go back to your customers at a fraction of the acquisition costs. So if it costs you $600 to get a lead or $20 to get a lead, the next contact lowers that cost. Every referral a customer gets reduces your cost per customer. And then again, we're going to optimize for the customer, working on customer lifetime value. So we get more sales from fewer customers, which lowers our overhead. We're going to look at optimization. At what point are we at an optimal performance so that we can know that we can just take money off the top and put it in advertising, and that's going to turn into over your return on advertising spend will be clean. This is more complex than most marketing agencies want to work for, because to be honest with you, I could just blow smoke on you about all those ego measures, and a lot of people would get engaged in that, and they'd hire the next marketing agency. But I'm not about that. I want customers who pay, stay, and refer, just like I'm advocating you do. And so in order to do that, we now need to change our focus from the shiny objects to what really creates and keeps profitable customers. And these metrics are not the first metrics people go to. And in fact, they're scary for some people. When we generate a cost per lead and it's like $900 for a cost per lead. I worked with one client. It was $23,000 for them to generate a lead. Okay. But they sold $500,000 services. So it's just relative. It doesn't matter how much it costs to generate a lead, because again, their profit per sale was multiples of that lead cost. When you factor it out, their profit per sale was tremendous. And if they needed to spend more or they needed to spend less on generating lead, it was perfectly fine. That was a government contractor, services company, and they had long-term 3 to 5 year contracts typically. I've worked with organizations for $23 they could put a lead on a list. And what they found is that for every lead they put on their list, they got an organic lead through a referral on that list. So we did contests and we did other things to generate it, to build that list. And then all of their ad campaigns, unless you were on that list in a particular segment, you didn't even know what this company sold, because all of their content was about the problem the buyer faced. It was about the challenges they have to overcome. It was about tips and tricks that prepare the person to buy. It was about buying guides and other things. And so unless you've engaged with this company, you really didn't know what that company did, because they had adaptive services that delivered what their customers wanted. I've helped clients create hundreds of millions of dollars. Now, some of those clients are big and they do $1 million transactions, but many of them are mid-sized and, $100,000, $10,000, what was considered high-ticket transactions. Of the organizations who walked away from big media, who walked away from big tech, who walked away from the popular notion that all you had to do is create content and they would come, and started focusing on conversion first, they were able to multiply their investment in this methodology by a tremendous amount. Now, we get more technical. We start looking at recency, frequency, and monetary measures. We start looking at database marketing rather than actually just presenting stuff in a catalog. So when I was at Lillian Vernon, we would calculate who is the best customer and then send specialty offers to the very best customers, knowing that we only needed a small percentage of their purchase to fund the overhead or to get the next catalog out. And that the larger audience that was receiving the catalog, they were slowly reducing the number of catalogs they send out, not because they were getting online sales, but because there were people in that distribution who were not buying the product and service. And they were selling things that were $1. And if they can use these measures to make a profitable organization, now they had other problems, mostly getting bought out by investors and bad decisions based on the latest trends. But ultimately, the customer matters most. So would you rather create content with no hope of getting a customer, or would you rather create customers or to create leads that become customers? Well, that question really is up for you. But that's the end of this podcast. I'm Justin Hitt with Ad Briefing's Copywriting Tips, where we help you use words that sell to create and keep profitable customers. If you have questions about a conversion-first approach, visit us at www.adbriefings.co.uk. This is direct response marketing. And if you ask about a conversion first approach, and we'll answer any of your questions in follow-up. If this is a popular topic, we can go into more details. But of course, I've produced this for the handful of clients that have already asked the question, who are already on my mailing list, and who will ultimately benefit from what we've discussed here because they know they'd rather have more customers than more content. And so how do we get those customers? Conversion, focus, and service to those individuals. I want to thank you for listening again. I'm Justin Hitt with Ad Briefing's Copywriting Tips, and I'll see you in the next podcast.